financial sector, the trends, the future trends, what is the direction, and how are the banking strategies aligned with the priorities of the economy. We will have several speakers. We will cover several topical aspects that speak to the issues of the day. And we, from the conference and at the end of it, we hope to agree on initiatives, actions, and policy directions, not just to address the challenges, but also shape the future. And more importantly, go beyond discussion, but go to execution. The association, because it's umbrella-based and because of finance being at the center of many activities, we're able to reach and speak to and lobby with various organizations and stakeholders to try and get things in motion. I want to talk about our partners who've joined us. Eclectics International, our technology partners supporting us on the agent banking project, which at an appropriate time, again, I'll talk about at length. Together with Mastercard, as you know, the space that Mastercard is in all over the world and the activities they do, and I'll ask Chris to speak at length about that. We are happy to be associated with all of you, and the CRB team, Michael, who is here, credit from the Credit Reference Bureau, CompuScan. You know, credit is at the center of finance, and the vetting and the quality of credit is an important aspect in appraisal, and they are partnering with us. There are many other partners, including speakers who will be unveiled at the conference, and we selected our key partners to unveil them today and share with you what will happen and what the expectations are. I think that I'll cover further detail, but I want to give chance to our partners to say something, and then we'll take the other detail.
Thank you so much, Wilbrod. Next, I'd like to invite, ladies and gentlemen, like I mentioned, the partners we have in front of you are partners who are not only working with us on the annual Bankers Conference, but have said we want to take this a step further and, you know, put a foundation to our partnership. So I'd like at this point to invite a representative from Mastercard, Mr. Chris, to give his remarks to the audience. Thank you.
Patricia, thank you. Wilfred, thank you. Thank you for your presence here today in joining us to celebrate this momentous occasion in Mastercard joining forces with the Uganda Bankers Association in support of the upcoming annual conference, which will be held next month on July 19th. Mastercard is a global payments technology company committed to financial inclusion and to ensuring as well that we are able to empower local economies. And that goes hand in hand with Uganda's Vision 2040 to uplift the population from poverty in reaching middle income status. Our commitment to Africa has been evidenced, particularly with the formation of the Mastercard Labs for Financial Inclusion, which focuses on key areas that are very dear to us as Africans. One is agriculture, second being healthcare, and third being education. These are some of the areas where we would like to have a engaged dialogue with the Uganda Bankers Association members in the upcoming conference. We are committed to Uganda's market. In the coming weeks and months, we will also be sharing with yourselves how we want to partner with the local economy, be it with the private sector and the public sector as well. I will leave it to that at this particular stage, and we'll be happy to also answer questions perhaps later on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. Next to me, like I mentioned, is Mr. Paul Mbugwa. He's the CEO of Eclectics. During the remarks from the ED Bankers Association, he talked about our technology partner as an association. And Eclectics is the technology partner. You've all heard about agent banking that we're working with them on. So I'll invite Mr. Paul Mbugwa to give his remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Patricia, and everyone. Yes, we take again this important day to celebrate and congratulate UBA for this momentum decision to consolidate the interests of the various banks and be able to, articulate them in an open forum. I'm the founder of a company called Eclectics International, that we are providing solutions across 24 countries in Africa, and close to 400 banks are using our systems and hundreds of microfinance and circles. Over the years, we have won various accolades, and the last one was the Microsoft Award for 2016. And that has given us an opportunity to work with UBA, or the Uganda Bank Association. Critical to this event, as we have participated and sponsored quite a number in other countries, is to be able to bring in and address the challenges that are facing Africa, and Uganda being one of them. One of those is financial inclusion. How are you able to pass banking to the unbanked? The commercial banks would find it difficult using the traditional brick and mortar to open branches everywhere across the country. But the agency banking that we are implementing in conjunction with all the banks here is going to enable that using different technologies. Other forums that will be, we are likely to participate in this annual forum for banking conference will be technology, security, shared platforms, things that are addressing and challenges across the markets, and Uganda being again one of them. So we want to give the assurance that we are being part of this, and more can be shared as we carry on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul. Ladies and gentlemen, like I mentioned, the partners we have on board are a rich resource for us. Later on, we will have an event with the team from Mastercard, and where we will unveil or put a pen to paper of our partnership as we promote. We come together to actually drive financial inclusion in the country, in Uganda. I'd like us to hear from a representative from the Credit Reference Bureau, Mr. Michael Sengo.
Good morning, everybody. We are glad to be a part of UBA's upcoming conference. We at CompuScan have been helping the banks in Uganda for the last 9 years by providing advisory services in order to make more accurate decisions when they're granting credit. Over the years, Uganda has come to the front line around the world on how we've been able to combine the credit, implementing the credit bureau services in Uganda with our financial card system, since we did not have any identification system by then. It's been a success, and going forward, we've been helping the banks on reducing on the number of bad loans over time. And as we go further in helping the UBA and the entire banking bodies to help them make more accurate decisions by providing more risk reduction services over time, as you come to know that we're providing better services, like we're having the Compass score, we're having other services that help the entire banks to, from time of acquiring customers, managing customers, maintaining customers, and time of writing off the customers. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Michael. I want to take this opportunity at this point. I really want to extend a vote of thanks to the NTV team. NTV Uganda is our official media partner They are also partnering with us for this conference, and it's because of this that they've made this possible for us to have this event live. Thank you to the team once again. At this juncture, you've all heard about the annual Bankers Conference now. You have some good information about the conference. It's happening on the 19th of July. It will be an invite-only conference, and we expect to reach a number of guests who will join us for that conference from the financial and banking services sector, from government side. We also hope to have representatives from regional sides. At this point, I would like for us to get into a question and answer session. If there are any questions you would like to pose to the team that is in front of you, this is the point when I would welcome those questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think let me make a few comments as the team prepares, just to give you further insight. I believe you agree with us that the financial sector connects all the other dots around the economy because it fuels financing of the system. The conference will take stock of the challenges, as I mentioned, proposed solutions, and focus on the future. The conference has been structured into keynote addresses as well as detailed panel sessions to go deeper and dissect the critical issues and bring viewpoints as well as take input from the audience. The conference will cover various topical areas, as I mentioned. And just to give you a sneak peek, I think my colleagues have already talked about the technology and the future, but there are real challenges in the economy, things like the shortage and gaps in long-term finance for infrastructural, manufacturing, long-term projects. Those are real issues that our markets struggle with. There are issues about security and fraud. There are issues about responsible banking. There are issues about regulation, policy, how well it is coping. Today, there are more and more players in the financial sector, including telecoms as an example. There are insurance players who form part of the financial sector. And insurance support the financial sector so strongly by way of mitigation of risk. And they are increasingly offering more services to cover risks so that banking appetite in previously areas or sectors that were perceived as high risk, they are making it more attractive for banks to enter into those areas. So the conference will be quite rich, touching on the real pain points that affect our economy. We are having international speakers, regional players to share experiences from other jurisdictions and bring that experience to the benefit of the country. It is certainly going to be a rich conference in content. Like Patricia said, we have a host of invitees ranging from government technocrats, bankers, legislators, policymakers, investment advisors, international development partners, our own customers, the people who we serve, manufacturers, people in the trade sector, across the spectrum, to cover in depth issues that affect the financial sector and, most importantly, make propositions. You may remember last year we had a very challenging time, and I remember meeting many of you at the point at which there was an interest rate debate and the cost of capital and the cost of lending. These are all topical issues that banks will also explain their side of things, how we see it, what are the drivers of some of these things from our side, but most importantly, take a lot of feedback from the users of financial services. So I just want to give you that sneak peek that this dialogue will be rich in content and we look forward to having a good session.
Thank you so much, Wilbrod, for those very insightful remarks. Back to you, our guests in the room. If you have any questions regarding the annual Bankers Conference, any questions that you'd like to pass on to any of the members that are in front of you, this is your opportunity.
There are no questions? I'm surprised.
There are no questions?
I think I'll be loud enough, sir. My name is John. I work with NTV Uganda. Would you like to make... Good morning.
Morning.
John Rain is my name. I work with NTV Uganda. Would you like to make some comments on agency banking and Islamic banking? We know that maybe your regulations are high in somewhere. You want to bring us to speed with that?
Yes. Thank you very much. As you know, the Financial Institutions Act was amended to make provision for agent banking, Islamic banking, bank assurance, among the others, as part of the effort to deepen the financial sector. In terms of agent banking, the regulations are in the final stages. I think they are between the first Parliamentary Council. They've gone through the regulator, the banks, our mother ministry, the Ministry of Finance. That whole process has pretty much been completed, and the last phase is the first Parliamentary Council that prepares it for gazetting. Meanwhile, what banks have been doing is to ready themselves to put in place the infrastructure that will deliver agent banking. Agent banking essentially entails extending banking services to the lower and lower levels through an agent. Okay, so that the traditional bank you see, or the selected services, will be provided through an agent, a shop, a pharmacy, a wholesale place where you can access basic range of services. As we said, what the banking sector has done, again, really in line with marshalling the advantages and economies of scale by coming together, pooling resources, so that ultimately the cost of delivering these services is cheaper. We are using a shared platform that can extend these services across the levels around the country, so that, for one, access to financial services is made available, 2 is affordability, and 3 is the range of services that will then be provided. So the banks are in a preparatory phase to put the infrastructure in place, the product offerings, the training. You will realize that we will certainly work with thousands of partners, the agents themselves being the primary point of delivery, but across there are many other, including our partners, technology partners, the risk people, our trainers, and so on and so forth. And this is a whole evolution of an economy coming out just because of the spread of services. So that's where we are, and we should be rolling out that somewhere between July or late August. And that will be another interesting phase. In fact, we will invite you at some point in July to see what is happening at the data center in terms of preparation for that. Very interesting. I think it will give us an opportunity with our various partners here to extend services up to the lowest level. The second point is Islamic banking. And again, Islamic banking is again a new and an interesting phase. And the gist of it is, in Islamic banking, is risk sharing. Okay? So that a banker is not only lending, but participates in the risk of the venture and activity, and has various Islamic aspects around it. Regulation around it is still being worked on. There's meant to be a Sharia board that will also govern the aspects. But again, there are banks that have prepared, especially those In countries where Islamic banking has been practiced, they are preparing for that. And again, that's another interesting one that should help our economy. And then the next one is bancassurance, obviously provision of insurance services through the banks. And again, this will be a partnership. Remember, I spoke about the insurance sector as players in the financial sector. All these things are meant to deepen the sector and provide variety in terms of offering of services in the financial sector. And it just promises that we should have more variety, more depth, more options to enable our country, our economies develop through access of financial services. Yeah.
Well, Simon Urban TV. At the start of the year, the association did have an initiative which was aimed at agreeing on what the interest rates could be to spur, credit access for the private sector. Do you want to share with us if there is any update just yet, or we have to wait until the conference takes place? Thank you.
A lot of work is going on behind the scenes. I'm sure you have seen from the regulator, the central bank, there's been consistent reduction in the central bank rate, which is a benchmark rate against which commercial banks then peg lending rates. Banks have correspondingly been bringing down the rates in tandem. However, there are many other factors that build or put the construct into pricing of loans. I think what I can say is that what we have done as an association is to say beyond just the top line prices, we must deal with those underlying factors that build into the cost of capital. And one of the things we've done is to say as a sector, we should share costs. When you group and team, you pool resources, you are able to undertake a larger project at a lower cost because of the economies of scale. And what we intend to do then is to pass on these cost savings to the customers by way of revised tariffs and lower cost of delivery of services. So that is underway. Quite a chunk of it will be shared in the conference in terms of what we are doing. The other aspect is to mobilize larger financing. As you know, the country is preparing for larger investments, not just in the oil and gas sector, but also in various other infrastructure projects. And what we are doing as the banking sector then is to come together and say how much risk can we take. But once we participate as banks, what that does, it sends a very strong message to other external investors and funders who then come in and join what we call syndication. So that when you have a $1 billion transaction, if banks together put, say, 200 million, you are then able to attract other financiers, be it Exim banks, development banks, equity investors from other jurisdictions, because they are sure that the local banks, the indigenous banks, the banks operating in that country have appetite for the transaction. They are on the ground. They're able to look at the risks they are in. It gives them comfort. Then they can co-fund the transaction, and easily you can put together $1 billion to undertake transactions. And in there you negotiate the terms, the pricing, and of course the insurance to cover the risk aspect. So yes, there's a lot of work. We will share some detail during the conference. I do not want to take away the icing at this point, but the answer is yes, we will share with you.
Okay. Thank you. I am Nasa Kayanja. I work with Radio Simba. Mine is about the confusion or the competition that is between us as the bankers. We have a problem between the public and government. That we're in a situation whereby government is borrowing from the same banks where the public is borrowing, which has caused the problem that we have these high interest rates. As an association, how do you intend to address this problem? And as an association, why do you allow this to happen?
Very, very interesting question. I agree with you to a very large extent that the government has been borrowing, and when government borrows heavily from the commercial banking sector, it crowds out the private sector from credit access and as well as credit cost. And yes, that has been happening because of the various priorities of government and shortage of domestic tax revenue to actually fund those things. So they come to the banks to borrow. In a way, you would say that's business for banks, because lending to government is very, very secure. The risk is much lower. You can sit and you lend them and sit back and wait for your interest, because government will pay since they are routed through the central bank. But it has an effect of bringing a shortage to the private sector as well as raising the cost. You are saying, what are you doing? What are you doing about this? The Bankers Association is privileged in that we sit on very many organs, including the Financial Markets Development Committee. We work closely with the Ministry of Finance. We have regular meetings, monthly mandatory meetings at the central bank. We are calling for fiscal discipline from government, because we are saying this, while we make money from that activity, this is the impact it has on private sector credit, and it can lead to constant indiscipline. So fiscal discipline is important, so that spending on the government side is in priority areas, and if they have to borrow, there are minimums and directed to the correct sectors to multiply growth. That is the only way we do it, through dialogue, persuasion, so that we are together and drive the future together. But also, I think for certain corporate customers, they enjoy certain rates which are way, way, way below what you see as the prime board rates, especially large corporates undertaking projects or with a bigger sector impact. They enjoy that. I think we agree with you to that extent that there must be discipline, fiscal discipline in the economy, because the central bank, as you can see, that drives monetary policy, it's doing its part. And that discipline, good execution of projects, prioritization are the important things that can then drive the economy. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I am Sebaki Jedan. I work with NTV. Now, could you please shed some light about Islamic banking? I'm asking this question because are we going to invite maybe the banks from maybe Saudi Arabia to come and other Islamic branches, or these the existing banks are going to adopt that Islamic banking something?
Islamic banking.
Yeah.
The banks are already here. As I said, there are already 23 commercial banks, and the Islamic banking is going to be delivered through the existing banks. I think what I can say is that because other countries, the practice has been there longer, we collaborate with them in terms of skilling the practices, the processes, but it's actually going to be delivered through the banks that are licensed to operate in Uganda. Nonetheless, I'm sure you could have followed that in training, in awareness, in structuring process, in products, we borrow, we share knowledge, and yes, we pick quite a lot from some of the Islamic countries and specific banks that have operated Islamic banking to bring that experience for the benefit of our economies.
Just looking at the theme for the conference, the future of banking, do you want, without giving away too much ahead of the conference, to share with us insights into what really is the future of banking? We have, in the last 12 months, if I would say from to date, experienced some turbulent times in the banking sector in Uganda. And Ugandans and bankers are a bit cautious right now on what they can and cannot do in that space. But everyone is wondering whether the institution they actually save their money in is solid enough to withhold maybe the current global economic stress. But also, having listened to the budget, you have a feeling that, the banks will continuously feel safer lending to the government, where there is lots of guarantees you'll get your money back, than actually providing money or long-term financing for projects, investors here in Uganda who would actually want to invest and put a lot of their money in this economy, yet they can't find that kind of financing with our commercial banks at the current interest rates? Yeah.
Okay, I will answer a bit of it and also ask my colleagues and partners to speak to the future without revealing too much so that you still all attend the conference. First of all, the selection of the main theme tells you a lot. The future of banking. As I said earlier, the demographics in our own country, let's use Uganda as an example, 70% of the population is below 50? No, 50%. I think the population that is under 35 is very, very huge. Those people are demanding, they want convenience, they want a good price, they want good products. Anybody running a bank must think about the needs of that segment of the population, which is why I said our own demographics dictate where we should look at for the future. So it informs how we've structured the theme, so that we speak to the audience that is going to run the economy, that is upcoming, that are there, real young people, people of middle age, who have needs, and who compare today technology, what has happened in the US or South America or anywhere in Europe, by a flash of an email, a WhatsApp, or an SMS, everybody knows what's happening. So the same standard anybody is enjoying anywhere in the world, an ordinary 18 to 35-year-old person would like to see it here. So that's why it is central that we plan for the future. Okay? Now, the other aspects about long-term finance and how that is raised, the cost and aspects, there are many areas that we're going to talk about. You talked about the caution of banks. Banking is a very regulated trade, and I'm sure you will appreciate why, because we deal with the most liquid item, that's cash. Fraud, the risk of fraud is 24/7 on us all the time. Remember, we are custodians of people's money. The money is not ours. So it's important to embed risk controls and be cautious all the time, because you are looking after people's money. Okay? And there are frauds. There are people whose full-time job is fraud daily, 24/7. So we take that into account. Secondly, we are very regulated. That, however, doesn't mean we cannot be innovative, which is why we're talking about the future. And I'll ask our partners to talk about that. And what are the drivers for innovation, apart from the dictates of demographics? It's things like technology. Even the way we do credit now. Perhaps who knew that we used to be able to lend through just the phone? Maybe we've started with small amounts now, but you don't know how much it will go into. How are we covering risk? Which areas do we finance these days that perhaps we never used to? How do we raise a lot more long-term money to deepen the financial sector? You will have speakers who are talking about what has happened in other jurisdictions and what does it require to make it happen here, so that our business people, our investors, our traders can access more finance. But I'll ask our partners to make comments. You know the future better. Although a lot about the future will be discussed in the conference, so that perhaps this is our perspective of the future. You may find that you define the future when you attend the conference. Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. It's an excellent question to which you will have, again, the answer during the conference. But that being said, I think that I will be able to share maybe some of the best practices based on our experiences. We operate in over 200 countries, so this is certainly something that Uganda and its association can certainly leverage from and certainly learn from. What is the challenge when we talk about future of banking? It's access. That is the one challenge that we have here in Uganda and across sub-Saharan Africa. One of the answers is naturally agency banking as an infrastructure. But the answer to your question when you talk about the future of banking can be summarized in one word: one. And that is, I think, one of the key topics that we will be addressing during the conference next month. That word is digital. Digital will be, and certainly is, one of the only ways in which we will be able to disseminate solutions for the bottom of the pyramid. When we talk about access, we recognize that over 85% of global transactions are cash-based. Does that allow for actually inclusion? It does not. So we believe that digital will enable to actually onboard those that are at the bottom of the pyramid to provide them access to financial institutions, to solutions and the like. Further, I think that one key area as we speak about the build of infrastructure, as we speak about agency banking and the like, and interconnectedness, is to provide that interoperability between financial institutions. And this is where we actually come in. Now, to illustrate perhaps the future of banking, again, without giving you too much, but sharing perhaps some of the areas where we have collaborated here in East Africa. So last year at the World Economic Forum for Africa, Mastercard successfully signed a partnership with the government of Rwanda, specifically the Rwanda Development Board, to focus on key areas that are actually specific to access. 3 of those: healthcare, education, and pension. These are some of the examples. We have successfully partnered with the government of Nigeria, for example, on their national ID. And we know that national IDs is a significant challenge across sub-Saharan Africa. In Egypt, to give you an example, we successfully again partnered with the stakeholders, private and government, in the telco space to provide an interoperable mobile payment solution. And we have many such examples across emerging markets. So ours, as main sponsor of the event, is to specifically contribute to this dialogue with the local stakeholders to find these solutions that are actually catered but also localized.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll start by possibly trying to define the future. The future is in a moment from now. And that could go into further definition, that possibly in 5 years, in 10 years. And who is this that will be relying on banking? It has to be the people that are today technology driven, and possibly the juniors that are going into an age that allows them to have an account. A colleague from Mastercard has just mentioned technology or digitization, but I want to bring another term called instantaneous. Instantaneous is going to be driving banks, that people even today are a bit impatient. So what will happen is that account opening will be instantaneous. It will be done remotely and anywhere, anytime. And that will only be available if the banks are integrated, or the technology has integrated with other parameters. For example, mining data from the IPRS or the NIRA, that's the national ID, mining data from the CRB to check your credit data. Everything will have to be instantaneous. Nobody is going to have the patience to go and queue within the bank. Second, tied to that is going to be self-service. Largely, people will rely on doing themselves so that they can be able to achieve the instantaneous thing that I just mentioned. But I've just brought in another angle, that the banks have to have sufficient data to make that decision to allow you access your services instantaneous. And that means, again, interoperability, bringing connectivity between different services, different angles, and so on. But the last one is banks' key concentration will be on customer care. If you give them a low-level flying, all of them doing the same technology, customer being the only differentiating factor, will not even be money or cost of the product, but customer care. That would be the determining differentiator. So to answer you, I feel that those will be the determining factors of the bank of the future.
Let me give you another example. I'm sure many of us, at one point or another, you need money all the time. You need to borrow some money. Let's say you are going through a hard patch. And not a lot of money. Let's take an example, 100,000 as an example, to sort out a few things. And we are going to an age where you should be able to quickly get instantaneously 100,000 on a self-help basis by, choosing where you want to access that credit from, how much details. Remember that in applying for that, there's an appraisal that do you actually qualify, 100,000, a million, whatever the number is. And that's how you relate to many other things like the Credit Reference Bureau, which will really tell us your credit history if you borrow and you actually pay your loans. But beyond that, that is if you have borrowed before. What about if I haven't borrowed before? There's plenty of more information we can get. Do you pay your electricity bills regularly, umeme? So if we link up with that database, you're a regular payer of umeme or water, okay? And you have your national ID. Quickly, we should be able to say, based on the following, he pays regularly, his water bills and so on, he deserves credit of so much, and therefore this is the score, access is given, money is loaded, and it's available on your phone or your account, and then you're able to disburse it. And that information, like you said, the more we collate those information reference points using technology, it just gives you an example of where the future is going. And that's just one example to give you an insight into what we are talking about. Yeah. Okay, any other questions?
Okay, we'll
yes. Take a few more, no problem.
My name is Raymond Demole. I work with the East African newspaper. I must say something small. I don't know if you've noticed, most telecom companies are becoming banks. There's more cash nowadays, and there's mobile money. And telecom companies are phasing out banks day by day. How are you going to deal with this in the long run?
Thank you very much. I wonder why, and thank you for asking me that question, why this is the perception. Maybe we need to do a lot more communication. First of all, every money service offered in this country, whether through a telephone or mobile or more cash, call it anything, it is anchored, at the back of it, it is anchored at a bank. All the transactions you see happening, there's a mirror anchor in a bank. So to do any mobile money or something, there must be a bank sponsoring that telecom, so that the account is mirrored and there's a float account sitting in a bank. Okay, so we are actually working together. Much as it may appear space is being taken, eroded, and so on, every much of those is mirrored and reconciled and ends being monitored and counted in a bank. Okay, that's number one. But secondly, I think we're talking about access, spread, availability of the service, so that where a bank is not, another partner can play that role. And that's how we are working together with various players. Telecoms are partners. For Christ's sake, the entire communications infrastructure of banks, the links that enable us to perform these transactions are provided by telecoms. So we are really partners in this. We go beyond that, however, and fund them to expand to be able to bring those agents. We finance them through loans. So the role of banks will not disappear because we are an intermediary for financing, and we provide the much needed credit to finance all those various transactions. We also facilitate trade, because to import any infrastructure which may not be in the country, you have to import it. You will do it through a bank, through the letters of credit. You give comfort to the supplier through various instruments and enable that to happen. So the practice of banking is not just access points, but facilitation, or the intermediary role that financial sector players, banks inclusive, play, and that role will continue to be there. We are not worried. I think what we are more concerned about is how to collaborate more and spread these services to the lowest level, using technology, using telecom partners, using regulators, using the media. Let me talk about financial literacy. Even if we invest so much money If the user does not know the benefits, how to use them, we will be spending money to waste. So just the amount of literacy involved so that my grandmother there is not robbed. Even if I introduce whatever agent channels, and he or she goes to a shop and they take a thumbprint and they say it is this and this, when the person is not honest, the money I will have sent my mother can easily be robbed at that point, isn't it? Because she may not know what they are doing and so on and so forth. And once she's robbed once, she will fear to come back to that and say, no, I'll wait for you when you next visit me in the village because the other time I was robbed. So just the education. But beyond that immediate service, once the population, the bigger part of the population embraces these services, we can then extend a lot more financial products and services to a population that is literate about financial services.
May I please add to your comments as well with respect to the question that was posed? When speaking about MNOs, mobile network operators, I think it's important to, again, reinforce the message that was passed. These are not deposit-taking institutions. They are not licensed by the central bank as such. And hence, again, must rely on financial institutions to provide these services. And so you must look at MNOs as a conduit, and specifically as a channel. The banked population today has access to payment cards, for example, and their point of interaction would be through an ATM, for example, or a point of sale. The cost of infrastructure to be able to deploy such services in rural areas, for example, would simply be impossible. So when we talk about access, this has certainly been one of the stumbling blocks for financial institutions. So I think that when we talk about how we go about solving these challenges, we have to look at areas or points of convergence. So mobile phones, naturally, and the penetration of mobile phones has been phenomenal in sub-Saharan Africa. So look at this device as, again, a channel, a conduit by which you can provide services.
Okay.
Thank you so much, my panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've shared so much already, and we need to keep some for the actual day of the conference. As you well know now, that there will be a lot of knowledge that will be shared during the conference, a lot of information, a lot of learnings, a lot of experiences that will be shared at this conference. And I'd like to, as much as possible, there will be a lot of, over the next few weeks, we're going to have a lot of media engagement as we talk about issues around the banking and financial services sector. We'll be having talk shows as we build up towards the actual day, and we'll be working very closely with our media partner on this. Ladies and gentlemen, there's just one, as I bring this conference to a close, there's just one special thing I'd like to do that will be the last activity for this conference that we'll have within this conference. Like I had mentioned as I spoke in the beginning, Mastercard has taken a decision to work with Uganda Bankers Association during the conference, as we organize this conference, as we, ensure all our T's are crossed as we build up towards the actual day. But also beyond that, we are actually having a very big partnership that we are entering with Mastercard. And as one of our last activities, I would just love to request, and at this point, request the Mastercard team and UBA, through the executive director, to take us through the final stage or the final activity for this conference.
Okay, can we have a short one minute break, and then we continue straight away? Yeah.
We are fine with everything.
Pardon? You're fine with anything? Okay, I think let's just take a 1 minute break, and then we go through the second phase.
Okay.
Yeah. Transit from first half to second half.
Turning on your world.
Welcome back to Shopping with Jumia. My name is Idris Matu and I have another great offer from Jumia, Uganda's #1 online shopping destination. Remember, Jumia has a variety of products from electronics, appliances, fashion and so much more at the best prices ever. Simply place your order on our website jumia.ug or use the Jumia app. And guess what? We shall deliver to you no matter where you are in the country. You simply pay cash on delivery or through MTN mobile money. This week we have an amazing offer on a laptop from the popular brand HP. Now this laptop is great for office and home use. And because it comes in such a portable size, it's great for working on the go. It has everything you need to manage your day, and the best part is the low and affordable price you're going to get it here on Jumia. This laptop usually comes at 1.6 million Ugandan shillings, and that's a good deal for such a quality laptop. But of course, Jumia has it at an even better price. For this week, you can get the HP 250 laptop on Jumia at only 1,448,000 Ugandan shillings. Yes, that's right, a discount of 152k. And it comes with 1-year warranty. Since this laptop is just 15.6 inches, it's easy and convenient to carry around in a bag, backpack, or in your arms. And HP have given it a durable outer structure so that it can stay protected against the hazards in everyday life. The laptop also has an HD webcam and all the slots you need for business, studying, and entertainment purposes, like an SD card slot, a slot for HDMI cables, and USB flash drives, plus a built-in DVD disc drive so you can insert movies, CDs, and games. The HP 250 laptop uses Windows 10, which is the latest operating system from Windows. Having a laptop with Windows 10 means you will have a OneDrive account, which saves your files in a cloud and allows you to access them on other devices simply by logging in. Now, let's talk about the processor of the laptop. With the power of the Intel Core i3 processor, this laptop will support your everyday tasks without slowing down. So whether you are writing a document or editing photos, this laptop can handle your projects. Okay, so now that you know that the HP 250 laptop will give you real value for your money, it's time for you to place your order. Order the laptop in a brand new condition on Jumia.ug or through the Jumia mobile app. Not at 1.6, but at an exclusive price of 1,448,000 Ugandan shillings. And it comes with a 1-year warranty. So if you buy the laptop through Jumia and it has some fault, the seller will fix it for you for free. Now, if you're considering buying the brand new laptop from town simply because you're not familiar with shopping online, let me take you through the easy and simple process. Once you get onto the website Jumia.ug or the Jumia app, type HP laptop in the search bar and you will see the laptop we are showing you today in the search results. Click on the laptop. This is where you get to see a more detailed description of the device, pictures, and any reviews fellow customers have left about the laptop. When you feel you know enough about the gadget and are ready to place your order, simply click Buy Now and the item will be added to your online shopping cart. If you've never placed an order on Jumia before, you'll be asked to fill in a few details such as your name, contact details, and the address of where you want us to deliver your items to. If this is not your first time shopping on Jumia, simply log in and proceed to checkout. During checkout, choose whether you want to pay cash on delivery or with MTN mobile money. Then click Confirm Order. As long as you see an order number, that confirms that your order has gone through. You will soon receive an email or SMS confirming that Jumia has received your order. So, before I leave you, let me remind you that the HP 250 laptop with an Intel Core i3 processor and 4GB RAM goes for just 1,448,000 Ugandan shillings on Jumia while stock lasts. So what are you waiting for? Get yourself this affordable laptop on www.jumia.ug or through the Jumia app. Remember, Jumia will deliver the item to you no matter where you are in Uganda. You simply pay through MTN mobile money or cash on delivery if you are in Kampala. My name is Idris Matu and we are filming from the stylish Urban by City Blue Hotel in Nakasero, which can be booked on Jumia Travel. Thank you for watching the show and I look forward to presenting more great products to you soon.
Exposure to different environments leads to a buildup of germs, oil, and dirt. These can cause blemishes and uneven skin tone. You need new Dettol Even Tone. It removes 99.9% of germs and is formulated to remove excess oil and dirt, helping to reduce the appearance of blemishes, giving your family the confidence of healthy, even-toned skin. For an even better you, new Dettol Even Tone. Dettol, be 100% sure.
Dad, why do we always buy Splash Juice?
Yes, ma'am. Why always Splash Juice?
Because it is real fruit juice and nutritious too.
Why?
Because only Splash Juices come in a 6-layer juice-locked pack, which keeps fruit power, freshness, and taste alive.
And that's important.
Why?
Because I want you to be healthy.
Why?
Because I love you.
Splash, real fruit juice. Splash, fruit power sealed for freshness.
From the continent of Africa, we bring you here in Johannesburg at the Pan-African Parliament to make sense of issues in the Pan-African Parliament from the committees, plenary sessions and the regional caucuses. I am Maurice Sochol, bringing you not just news, but a conversation that turns on your world.
NTV, turning on your world.
Good morning once again. This will be very brief. Still in front of you we have representatives from Mastercard, Chris, who's the Vice President, as well as Frank, and the Executive Director, Uganda Bankers Association, and myself, Patricia. So we'll keep this brief. Mastercard and Uganda Bankers Association have come together not only to conduct or to hold the annual Bankers Conference, but we are having a long-term, very huge partnership where we want to drive and promote financial inclusion in the country, but also strengthen the financial services sector. So this press conference is really to put a stamp to our partnership and commitment to working together to see that we improve on our financial inclusion, on reaching the unbanked in Uganda. At this point, I'd like to invite the ED, Uganda Bankers Association, to give a few remarks right before we go into a short signing ceremony and exchange of documents.
Thank you very much, Patricia, for the introductory remarks. Again, let me not get tired of welcoming you for this particular session. I speak with a deep heart and concern for the financial sector in our country, obviously wearing the hat of the Bankers Association. Our financial sector still has a long way to go in spite of the numerous achievements and developments that have taken place over the years. We still have work to do. Financial sector business has risks in it, and many other things, including the depth of the offering of financial services. So this morning, we are here to sign a collaboration framework with Mastercard. That's a global payments company, and Mastercard will speak. They're a better place to speak at length about that. But we are signing a long-term partnership for collaboration on a number of fronts. Financial sector, as I mentioned, previously mentioned, has its own risk, and methodologies to strengthen security around financial services is critical. And having partners who bring a wealth of experience in areas of strengthening security are very welcome, and we are glad to be working with them. There are various other areas, including literacy and even capacity building within the sector itself in the country. We are today signing a memorandum of collaboration with partners who then can bring in the skill and expertise and build local capacity around our financial sector. Perhaps lastly, I can comment on research. Is another important area to continue coping with the needs of the populations that we serve, but more importantly, bring in insights from other jurisdictions, and you do that by research and development. So today, on behalf of the Bankers Association and all our member banks, we are entering, and you will be witnessing the signing of a collaboration framework with a good, huge, and big partner who loves what we are doing, believes in what we are doing, and associates with what we are doing to increase financial depth, particularly in the banking sector.
Thank you so much, Wilbert, for those few remarks. Chris, I welcome you to give your few remarks as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Wilfred, as well. So today really marks a significant day for Mastercard in Uganda as we sign a memorandum of understanding with the Uganda Banker's Association. We have had a dialogue for quite some time now, and we have engaged as well at a local market with various stakeholders. We are committed to Uganda. We are committed to our partnership for the long term. And this partnership truly embodies our commitment to the growth of this market, particularly in the financial services sector. So our aim is naturally to accelerate financial inclusion for the unbanked and the underserved. And the framework of this collaboration will be focused on a number of areas. So promoting financial inclusion through capacity building, as was mentioned, agency banking initiatives as well, and then also identifying maybe forex flows that are currently not digitized. Research and policy will also be areas where we will be focused. And then lastly, to allow financial institutions to have access to our network, we will be introducing a special pricing and infrastructure through this partnership to allow, again, inclusiveness, be it for financial institutions, much as we talk about the bottom of the pyramid. So again, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Uganda Bankers Association and to share the excitement on behalf of Mastercard for this long-term collaboration that kicks off today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. I can take 3 questions if you have any as regards to the partnership between UBA and Mastercard. If there is none, I will proceed. There is none? Okay. At this juncture, I would like to request Wilbrod and Chris to append their signatures, and then thereafter we'll have an exchange of the documents and close this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much. All right. Once again, thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes. Thank you so much for your time. To the media. Oh, there's a hand.
Okay. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Let's take a question or so.
Yes.
Yeah. You have a microphone.
Raymond again from the East African newspaper. It's off the signing. You guys have not talked about cryptocurrency in Uganda and its future in the long run. Could you please talk about it? Because people are naive about it mostly in Uganda, not talking about the region, but in Uganda because I'm Ugandan. Could you please talk about it?
You want to take
Sure. I think that there's a lot to be done and there's a lot to be said about cryptocurrency, and I think that's certainly what you are referring to. And the key word that is commonly referred to when we talk about cryptocurrency globally, that is Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency is certainly an area where we are investing. So now, I think that perhaps for our audience, what we need to address when we talk about cryptocurrency is what it achieves. Much as payments and networks such as Mastercard enable a financial institution to do is one, and as was discussed today, is security. So cryptocurrencies are known to be secure transaction. The second item when we talk about cryptocurrency is to look at traceability. And that also enables traceability. However, there are challenges that are posed internationally when we talk about cryptocurrency. So one, cryptocurrency does not sit necessarily with financial institutions. In fact, it takes away financial institution. Second, it is not regulated, be it at a local level or be it globally. So that also poses challenges. And then third is the convertibility of cryptocurrencies. So these are some of the areas that are currently being discussed when we talk about cryptocurrency. And it is certainly something that we, as Mastercard, are certainly looking into. And it is, again, one of many solutions that one can look at. But again, when we talk about some of the solutions or some of the aspects of transactions, again, we have to look at transparency, efficiency, and more importantly, inclusiveness. So we'll see how that unfolds in the coming years and months, be it globally or in the rest of sub-Saharan Africa.
Okay, I think, again, thank you for your question. And you must have noticed I'm careful not to go too deep to take away the icing from the conference. But it is, cryptocurrency is something we are following very closely, day and night, and it speaks to the future. And that's why we're talking about the future. I think the key important things I want you to get out of this room with is regulation and risk. And those are important aspects that we are looking at as we internalize and see the evolution of cryptocurrency. Always remember that whatever products, services, offerings come, at the end of the day, you would not like to lose anything. You will also want a fallback if anything goes wrong. And as these offerings evolve across the world, these are important aspects to take into account. And it's a very interesting area, I must say. What I can limit myself to say is we are studying, following, and very involved in tracking how it evolves. Thank you very much. Yeah. Gentlemen, thank you, ladies. I always put on a hat that as a custodian of people's money, security, your safety of your money is very important. I forgot to address a confidence question that came earlier. The financial sector is sound. In fact, it has been able to very, very ably demonstrate that it can withstand shocks. And I can tell you that the regulator has even come stronger with commercial banks behind the scenes. You may not see what is behind my back here, but the sheer amount of regulation and standards and enforcements that we are going through now because of the turbulences in the market coming from the regulator are very strong. They have a big stick behind our back now, but all that is being done in good faith to reassure you and have confidence in the financial sector. All the banks are well capitalized, and they are able to, we have done scenarios so that we are sure they are able to withstand any shocks. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Can I now relax?
Yes. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay, please link now. You have the signed copy.
it's Ethan Musoling, the Merchant of Success. Welcome to this episode. And today's episode, I want us to talk about the